Hello and welcome to this episode of Snack Time, where I'm going to be talking about how you can leverage and promote the sponsorships that your business gets involved with. So when I'm talking about this, I mean when you're a business and you support, say, the local footy team, or you support like a non-for-profit, you might provide pro bono work, or you might provide a big donation, or you might provide an annual kind of amount of cash or support to, a certain group within your community. This happens in regional areas all the time. And this kind of sponsorship and generosity and partnership, all words that can be used to describe it, can be really well leveraged with your marketing. So some of you might remember an interview that I had with Alistair Flower, right at the beginning of the How to Do Marketing show series. And Flowery is a bit of a legend when it comes to negotiating and setting up sponsorships and partnerships. He owns 5 pubs locally around the Port Macquarie area. And he's so involved in the community via these sponsorships. And he has a very, very, what would you call it? A really thorough framework that he uses to approach these sponsorships, mostly from an operational point of view, but also from a kind of marketing and promotions view. If you haven't listened to that episode and sponsorships is something that you are looking at getting into, I suggest you go and revisit or visit that episode, and I'll pop the episode in the show notes for you, because it's a really, really good example of a business owner who uses sponsorships and partnerships really well in their local community. I'm today talking more about how you can actually promote your involvement with this. Now, I know that sponsorships are generally quite a philanthropic exercise, and they're generally something that you do out of the generosity of your heart, and for so many small businesses based in regional areas, they're quite prolific and very, very generous with the sports teams and the organisations and the schools, and the not-for-profits and the social clubs that they support. And this is something that we can actually bring out via marketing. And it's something that really helps build credibility and trust in our brand. It helps align our brand as being community-centric. It can sometimes help differentiate our business from the competition. And you don't need to feel icky about doing this because it is out of the generosity that you're doing this. It doesn't mean that you can't promote this. We can do this in a certain way that's not too beating of the chest or too boastful. We can do this in a way that celebrates and helps promote the cause that you're actually donating to, or sponsoring or partnering with, as well as kind of aligns your brand with this specific cause. So number one, when something that we do with a lot of small businesses that we work with is when we first kind of start looking at their business from a strategic level, we actually do a bit of a sponsorship audit, because what's very typical in regional towns is that the same small businesses that are generous with their sponsorships and partnerships kind of tend to get hit up all the time. And they're hit up by everyone. Once word gets out that you're a sponsorer, you can be approached again and again and again and again, which is great if you've got a sponsorship budget to work with. I would say a lot of businesses haven't actually assigned a sponsorship budget. They just very generously kind of give out to the businesses that come and ask, and some they do and some they don't. Some small businesses just support the causes that their team get behind. So, if their team has some members that their schools are conducting a raffle, or if their team has supports one of their team kind of supports one of the local soccer teams or whatever, then that's the way that they'll decide their sponsorship budget. But generally, that can kind of, I guess it can kind of run away from you. Like you're sponsoring all these events, these fundraising events and these organizations. And then all of a sudden you're like, geez, you know, we've sponsored a lot of stuff. We've spent quite a lot of money on sponsoring, or we haven't spent enough in the local community. So where's this money going? So the first thing we kind of do is a bit of an audit. So who, you know, once we've kind of established what the organisation is trying to do and who it's perfect for and where it sits within the local market, we can go, okay, is sponsorship a tactic that's actually relevant to your business? Is this something that actually helps to achieve your business goals? It is or it's not. And your sponsorship or partnership might be something that you want to do, you know, altogether separately. It's more of a personal value than a business value. But mostly we'll just assume that the business, you know, it is something that will help position them a certain way in the community, and it is something that they want to be involved with. So if that's the case, then we will look at the different sponsorships and donations that you're involved with. And we look at that from a brand alignment perspective. So is this sponsorship of the footy club something that could align quite well with your brand and your messaging? Is this sponsorship of the local school raffles something that could align well with your messaging? Is this something that your target audience would find useful to know? So we look at it from a strategic alignment point of view. And then if we kind of go through the list and go, okay, is this, as you know, does this make sense? Does this make sense? Does this one make sense? We look to see how much you're actually spending within the business, like how much are you actually outlying each year for that sponsorship and donation. And then we look at, well, that's great, but 50% of those, whilst it's very generous and it's a lovely thing to do, if we took that budget and actually chose a cause or an organisation or something that's probably a bit more strategically aligned with our target audience, something that our target audience cares about, or something that kind of aligns well with what we do as a business, maybe we could actually transfer that money from that kind of sponsorship and donation to something else within the community. So step one is to do a bit of an audit within your business. How much are you spending on sponsorships and donations per year? Who are you spending with? Does that make sense to your business? You know, is there strategic alignment that makes sense there? And are there any potential opportunities that you're missing that you could investigate for future sponsorships? Okay, so we've done the sponsorship audit. So when we're going back into our negotiations, so if they're like annual sponsorships or agreements, when the next opportunity to go back into negotiations with them is, again, put your marketing hat on and just go, okay, are there, so if we've strategically aligned this organisation that we're sponsoring with our organisation, are there opportunities for the organisation that we're donating to or sponsoring to talk about us, to let people know that we are supporting them? And you might actually just write down a few opportunities in your next sponsorship agreement. And again, if you listen to that episode with Flowery, he talks about the importance of having a signed sponsorship agreement that you both refer to over the terms of the sponsorship, to make sure that each is kind of delivering on their terms. So think about it from a marketing point of view. Say, for example, you're sponsoring the local soccer team. You know, obviously there's some opportunity to maybe put your logo on the jerseys. Maybe you can put your logo on the little gazebos that get put out for the Saturday games. Maybe there's some home ground, signage that you can get your logo on, particularly if you've identified that those families that are going to be going to that soccer ground each week are the types of families that fit within your target audience. That's really important to make sure that you get that that visibility if that's the case. But then, you know, some of these sporting organisations or these not-for-profits or the fundraising events, they've got huge Facebook communities. They might have a huge Facebook group. How might you be able to get some visibility there? Are there some opportunities? And this might be a two-way conversation that you have with the organisation that you're sponsoring. If you're sponsoring an event, what's their social media strategy? You know, how many people have they got on their social media page? Are they investing in any advertising? How are they actually promoting the businesses that are sponsoring and donating to that event? Look for opportunities to say, well, we'd love some support, some promotion out via your email database. They might be emailing their club members each week. Is there an opportunity to put your logo on that email? So look for those opportunities where you can bring the visibility of your brand to the forefront of that sponsorship opportunity. So we've done the audit. We go into negotiations with the people that we're donating to or sponsoring or partnering with, and we look for those opportunities as to where they might be able to make your brand and business more visible. But also then look for the opportunities from within your own marketing. So if we are donating to the local Cancer Council ball, can we add this detail on our website somewhere? Do we have a page that shows the community initiatives that we're involved with? Is there just a band that we can put down the bottom of the homepage, which has the logos of all the different sporting teams and fundraising events that we support? So there's that kind of opportunity to display this on your website. And on your website, you're also able to give some context as to why you support these. So we feel that, you know, supporting grassroots sports is something that's really close to our team and our business. So to show our support, we sponsor the following sporting teams. Or it might be along the lines of, you know, we feel like it's really important to support medical staff in terms of, you know, the latest COVID efforts. So we are providing sponsorship or donations or whatever to this medical organisation or this not-for-profit or this ball, you know, that raises money for the frontline staff or whatever the case may be. So your website gives you that opportunity to kind of provide that context. The other place that you can share out this information about who you sponsor and partner with locally or even nationally is via your social media channels and your emails. So don't be afraid to talk about the philanthropic work that you do. Because what you'll actually find, like from a business point of view, this is hugely powerful. You know, this might be the difference between a customer coming to you versus your competition. There's a lot of people who feel very aligned to social causes. And it might be sports, and it might be environment, it might be political, it might be social. Again, go back to your strategy and go, what's important to our customers? If your customers are really, really driven by environmental causes, what kind of environmental cause can you support locally? And then amplify that relationship, amplify and talk about and communicate how you're supporting that, because it's a value that's also very close to your heart. Now, obviously, this has to be authentic. So we're not just going to bullshit about this being a value to us if it's not. So again, think strategically about this and go, well, that's really important to our customers. Is it really important to us? Yes, tick, tick. Okay, this is something that we should probably be donating our sponsorship and donation dollars to. And it's something that we should absolutely be bringing to the forefront of our communications. So website, you might even put something up at, you know, if you've got a bricks and mortar store or an office, you might actually put something up you know, in the window. If you're supporting a sporting team that's made it to the grand finals, you know, why not deck your windows out with some cheerleading and some paraphernalia that supports that team. Gosh, I got so excited then. I'm bashing the microphone. Sorry about that. Yeah, so think outside the square about ways that you can actually demonstrate this support. You might even go as far to actually have a place on your website where people can go to find out more if they want to support a particular event or a cause. You might go and get some media about it. So you might take a story to the media, and again, make sure it's a newsworthy story. Don't just go to the media with a pitch of, hey, guess what? We throw a certain amount of sponsorship dollars this way. Take a story about how you've managed to impact a team or an outcome or a person or an organization by providing that support, and pitch the story of this is the, you know, this was the scenario, this was the help, and this is the outcome that this has, you know, a sponsorship or donation has been able to deliver. So there's plenty of ways that you can demonstrate your sponsorship. The other, and one of the most important things, is make sure it's really visible to everybody within your organisation who you sponsor and why. Because remember that the people in your team are your biggest ambassadors. If you've got a good culture and people are really proud and happy to be working with you, and you've chosen a sponsorship strategy, you've chosen particular people and organisations in your town to support, make sure that your team know about this, because again, there's another opportunity for them to talk positively about you, particularly in regional communities where that word of mouth and that community buzz really is very, very powerful. So there are some ways to really leverage and promote your sponsorships. Again, as always, if you do need any help with planning any of that, you do know where to find us, dragonflymarketing.com.au. Okay, bye.